Hi there and welcome to another portion of infotainment. This video counts towards your 5 a day. What's your favorite webcomic? This thread would be much more interesting if more people explained a bit about the comic and why they like it so much. This happens in every thread like this. I'll usually answer and talk for 3 paragraphs about why I think it is great. And then the other comments are just X is good. And I feel disappointed in the world. God's in his heaven. All is well with the world. Mankind's greatest fear is mankind itself. I'd say Gunnerkrigg Court. I love the sci-fi versus fantasy kind of conflict, the characters are great, and the art evolves so nicely. Also, r/Gunnerkrigg is pretty active compared to most webcomic subreddits. A good runner-up is Dumbing of Age. The author has a huge amount of experience with comics which shows in how much he's planned out. Every day in universe is a chapter, barring the occasional time skip of a few days. The humor and characters are wonderful. Even though she's done with it, I've always loved Hark. A Vagrant by Kate Beaton. Jokes about history and literature. Very irreverent, always gets a laugh out of me. One that's still going strong is Nothing Special by Katie Cook on Webtoon. I think she describes it as a comic, but I still enjoy it even though I'm in my late 30s. Modern fantasy featuring a young woman who can see the spirits of dead plants and is constantly followed by the ghost of a radish. It gets weirder. Currently on season 3. And yes, I still read questionable content like everyone else. Tower of God. I would have said Tower of God, up until the Hell Train arc. The plot itself might still be okay, but the translation quality took a steep dive around that point, making it impossible to figure out if a character is trying to subtly imply something or if their sentence just got mangled in translation. I really like Webtoon. I really like Cursed Princess Club and True Beauty because they focus on issues with women accepting their appearance. I struggle to like the way I look, and I really like how the characters learn to overcome these feelings, which I hope I can. Let's Play is also quite good because it focuses on mental health like depression and anxiety and people dealing with those issues. The storyline is great too. I read these series and Lore Olympus too. I generally don't like romance/slice of life type stuff, but I can't get enough of these for some reason. You should try Freaking Romance. It's a romance story with the underplot of some good but sci-fi. It was a lot of twists that aren't too cheesy and honestly hooks you really well. Unsounded. It has gorgeous art, a compelling story, a rich world, and one of the coolest magic systems I've ever seen. Seriously, there's no way I can really do it justice by describing it, just go freaking read it. The series starts off with a powerful spell-casting zombie escorting a crime lord's daughter to another country to collect a debt from another member of the family, but it quickly goes balls to the wall with all sorts of interesting poop. Plus it's got a huge bird with tits. I came here to make sure this was said. Unsounded has, bar none, the best art I have ever seen in a webcomic. I have no idea how the author has the time and skill to churn out 3 pages a week when some webcomics can only update once a week. The story is incredible, the characters are complex and well written, and every day just leaves me wanting more. Hyperbole and a half will always have a special place in my heart. Cow Ali Brosh and I somehow were the exact same brand of weird and feral as children, but we were. Did she start writing again? No. Her second book is on an indefinite hold after she had a family tragedy. I cherish the content she has already given us, and I hope however she spends her time now that she is happy. Not sure it counts, but I love Pixie and Brutus comics. I don't know why, they just always entertain me. It's so adorable. And happy. If you're not reading Pascala Passa's Wild Life, you absolutely should be. It's about a writer named Oscar Wilde, no relation, who moves from Chicago to a small town called Potemkin, Oklahoma, where supernatural things abound. The artwork is stellar, the characters are great, and there's a creeping sense of unease that runs through it without being overpowering, which, given that it's ostensibly a horror comic, is wonderfully balanced. Definitely give it a look. Recommend pretty much anything by John Allison. Bobbins, Giant Days, Bad Machinery, Steeple. They're all great. I've been reading about the inhabitants of Tackleford since I was about 16 or so, and there's this wonderfully rich world that's been built up over literally decades of storytelling. If you want a quick and easy way to dive in, I'd recommend Bad Machinery, which is about 2 competing groups of young mystery solvers at a grammar school in Yorkshire. It's sort of like the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew crossed with Scooby-Doo, except British and much more focused on the transition from your first day at big school to the cusp of young adulthood. Homestuck, so much nostalgia. Gosh, there was so much to love about Homestuck. The text adventure presentation, the ensemble cast, the story gradually spiraling out of control and growing greater and greater in scope, the vindication of building online friendships, the crazy lack of a regular update schedule that kept you ravenous for the next hit, the way the comic utilized the internet as a medium to tell a story in ways no one had ever seen before to the point of breaking its own website, Briska, the amazing flash animations and soundtracks, how involved the fandom would get in not only celebrating the work but in aiding and creating official content, the incessant callbacks and sudden relevance of offhand details that drove endless theories and speculations on the significance of even the most irrelevant quips, Dante Bosco being inexorably drawn into the fandom as if into a black hole, the simplistic designs that made it incredibly accessible for fan artists and cosplayers but left so much room for personal interpretation that some truly glorious headcanons could be realized by their art, the release of Cascade Stand Still, Stay Silent by Minna Sundberg. This is by far the best webcomic I've read. The three pillars of a good webcomic are good writing, good art, and a regular update schedule. Almost every webcomic gets at most two of those, but SSSS nails all three. The art is phenomenal, the writing and story are excellent, and it updates 4 days a week. I'm intending to buy physical copies once the Kickstarter for Book 3 starts, which is something I can't say for any other webcomic I've read. Avas Demon. Really underrated. I was really surprised I found it not so long ago. Avademon.com. Seconded. And to elaborate for anyone interested, it is the story of a girl, Ava, who lives in a corporate/theocratic space empire. She ends up crash landing on a planet with her bully and then gets possessed by a long-dead alien. I'll leave it at that so as not to spoil. It updates a little slowly but for good reason. Each panel is a beautiful digital painting. Order of the Stick. I love Order of the Stick, it's what got me interested in Dungeons & Dragons. For the uninitiated, it's the story of a long D&D campaign. It started right when 3.5e rolled out in 2003. It's got a great overarching story, interesting characters, and very good art considering its stick figures. The only downside is that each page can get very wordy, and the long runtime can be daunting for new readers. The story is worth it, though. Lackadaisy Cats. Prohibition-era cats try to run a speakeasy after its original owner died under mysterious circumstances. It's old as dirt, absolutely gorgeous, and I'm here for the occasional bits of 1920s trivia. Like how to start a car. Now with animation in production, too. Gone with the Blastwave. Love this comic series. The art can be really beautiful, but I really just enjoy the whole vibe it brings. If you ever watched and enjoyed the web series Red vs. Blue, then this is definitely for you. Oh my god, thank you. I started reading this years ago and lost track of it and couldn't remember what it was called. What would have been your answer or question? Leave it in the comments below. Slap that like and subscribe button for more, and check out the link in the video description for even more answers. Peace out, and catch you in the next video.